With news that we're going to be getting a Stargate movie from MGM, I asked you guys a simple question. What film do you want to see? And the answer was very interesting. Welcome to Sci Trek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So I put a question on the community page. What Stargate movie do you want MGM to make? We have to start somewhere. So if it was strongly related to a series, which series do you think would be most exciting to see? Hard reboot is, of course, a different way to go and was one of the options. So option one, SG1. Should this be an SG1 revival heavily related to the daddy of the series that started it all? Or should it be related to Stargate Atlantis? Maybe we return to the Atlantis. Maybe we go off and fight the Wraith again. Or should it be related to Stargate Universe? We've heard rumors that Robert Carlyle has been approached and maybe even David Blue. Or should it be anything, as long as it's not a hard reboot? For the love of God, don't do a hard reboot. Well, we have the results. Now, this vote was quite popular. We got 1,500 votes. And out of 1,500 votes, SG1 got 21%. Stargate Atlantis Revival got 10%. A hard reboot got 7% of the votes. And oh my God, anything as long as it's not a hard reboot got 26% of the votes. But you might notice I quietly left one out there. Stargate Universe, because that got 36% of the votes. So a quarter of you out there, 26%, don't care what the movie's about as long as it's Stargate and as long as it's not a hard reboot. 7% of you out there actually want a hard reboot, and even though I don't, I can understand where you're coming from. Stargate got so powerful, and the Tau Re got so powerful towards the end of SG1 that a hard reboot after 20 years might make sense, because at the end of the day, we want a Stargate series. We don't want just Star Trek with a different coat on. SG1 got 21% of the votes. That's pretty good, because that's apparently what we're actually going to be getting if the rumors that we're hearing out of MGM are to be believed. 10% is a bit disappointing for SGA. Now, I loved Stargate Atlantis, but to be fair, I can kind of see why, even though I might want to see the Atlantis, I might want to see some of those characters again. I don't necessarily want a series based around it or a movie based around it. So 10% of the vote for that. Okay, I understand. Stargate Universe, though. Over a third of you want that. Over a third of you, out of all of the options, want a Stargate Universe movie to kick off the franchise. And now I know what movie you want, because many of you have told me repeatedly in comments when we've talked about Stargate Universe in the past. You want a continuation and a conclusion to the Stargate Universe mystery. You want Eli and Rush and Telford and everyone, you want them all to come home. You want them to find out what the mysterious signal was. You want them to find out who the planet builders were. You want all of the answers to these mysteries that were so cruelly taken away from us with the cancellation of season 2 to finally get answered. But could that possibly work? Well, hey, look, from a Gator's point of view, Stargate Universe was always a Marmite kind of show. People loved or hated it. As you know, I've said more than once, I found the series a little boring. I thought it started brilliantly. I thought it just got dull towards the end of season 1. Season 2 didn't start great, but it got better. It was getting better, and I was really loving it by the end. But for me, Atlantis was just as good, really, at parts as SG1, but SG1 is the daddy. SG1 reinvented itself several times. It's just a better show. It was a better formula for the show. It had some fun to it. It had all of that. SGU lacked that fun. It lacked that, sense of humor. It took itself a little bit too seriously for me. But the people that love Stargate Universe are desperate to have that conclusion. And it's big questions the Stargate universe asked. This signal that was hidden within the background radiation of the universe, that's not a little thing. I mean, if you think about sci-fi shows, a lot of sci-fi shows can be seriously ambitious. You know, they can have big problems that are trying to be solved. But a signal hidden in the background radiation of the universe, that's ambitious. I mean, that meant that that would have had to have been hidden within the background radiation at the point or near after the point of the Big Bang, 13.6 billion years ago, whatever it was. So that is a species that existed before time, before our universe. Now, they talked a lot about God and spirituality, etc., in Stargate Universe. They talked about this being the God's message. Now, even Rush didn't mean that literally, maybe in the way Catholics, etc., would consider the word God with a big G. But if you think about the storyline and the general idea of Stargate from beginning to end, this idea about false gods, this idea about actually that these gods that we have revered our entire, society are actually just advanced aliens, and that there is a logical explanation for all of these things that we see. Was SGU going to be just a natural evolution of that original idea? And that they were going to get a false god that is actually as close to being God as it's possible to imagine. Now, don't get me wrong, the ancients were already godlike after they ascended. They behaved in godlike ways, but they were just beings of energy. They were still actually ascended from corporeal beings like us. What on earth could have been so powerful that, one, it existed at the start of the Big Bang, and two, was able to create that message in the first place? With the Ascended, with the planet builders, with other species that we got to see at times within the Stargate universe, where those lines were blurred between that of alien and God, could Stargate of Universe gone even further and answered some of those biggest questions? Why are we here? What was here before? And what is the point of it all? So a Stargate Universe movie has got some pretty big questions to answer. It's going to have to be bloody clever. And we have to assume that Joseph Malozzi, Brad Wright, etc., did have answers to these questions when they, started the series. And a movie could actually kickstart this franchise in a massive way if they had a clever way to answer those questions. But Stargate Universe, even though it is absolutely loved by the Gators that love the show, it was cancelled because it was not watched enough. It never quite captured the imagination of a lot of Gators. It is a show that out of the three is watched the least and really had the least impact. So why would you return with SGU if you're an executive in charge of Amazon? What would the reason be? Well, if you want a movie that's going to please 36% of the people that voted today, then the SGU movie is the way to go. But think about it like this way as well. SGU ended the franchise. Wouldn't it be nice to restart the franchise where we left off? Maybe. But guys, get to the comments and tell me what you think. Does a Stargate Universe movie make sense? If it does, what sort of movie would you like to see? What sort of storyline would you like to see? We've got some very imaginative people out there. Give me some of those ideas. I'd love to know. We're actually going to be doing a live video next weekend where we're going to give our ideas about what a Stargate Universe movie could look like. And I'd love you guys to join us for it. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out and you will never miss any of our new videos. Also, go over to our sister channel sites where I do a weekly Stargate update video, which Gators do not want to miss. All the links are in the description. Finally, you can go to patreon.com/SciTrek, where you get to see most of our videos before everybody else. For a small contribution that supports the channel each month, you get to see them before everybody else on YouTube and without the adverts. I also throw a few little extra videos on there just for the Patreons. As always, guys, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.